What's up, everybody? It's Chad. I'm back again with another episode of Ask Chad Grassy Logic. We're here on the 39th episode of Ask Chad Grassy Logic, or is it the 40th? Oh, it's the 40th. Yeah, we're on 40 now. Gino just corrected me. So 40th episode. So thank you for joining me, Logan.
Yes, sir.
Heck yeah. So Logan is from 420 at 505 here in Las Cruces, iCanna. And we'll get into a little bit more of that in this show. We're going to talk about that. Ohio legalized cannabis. There's also been some studies I've been seeing about cannabis and heart stuff. And then we got a couple more. We got one more topic to talk about. We'll get into that a little bit later. So first off, we're just going to talk about 420 at 505.
Let's go.
iCanna. So tell us a little about who you are and who is 420 at 505.
So my name is Logen Reed. I'm a manager over there at 420 at 505. And my whole story starts when I was just a kid, diagnosed with epilepsy, couldn't get my driver's license when I needed to. You guys know the story. So what I did, I turned 16, figured out what cannabis was, got into it, found out it did better than any of the pharmaceuticals that worked for me. And now because of that, I am now 7 years seizure-free thanks to concentrates and flower.
Nice. So is it on the CBD side, or do you kind of do a mixture?
Nowadays, I definitely go full spectrum.
Okay.
Yeah,
Dope.
definitely. When I was younger and a little bit more naive, I would definitely say the THC was mainly all I was after. I didn't totally understand the CBD and the full spectrum,
Yeah.
and what it could do for you and the whole entourage effect.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely try to get as much CBD in me as nowadays. As with THC, I'm a huge dabber. I love my concentrates. CBG, CBC, all of that. CBN, I'm a huge advocate for all those ingredients. Definitely believe that anyone and everyone should try them at least once before you knock them.
Nice. And I'm glad to meet someone else who, isn't all about just THC.
Yes, sir.
Because that's something that industry wide is just praised, and like even the customer base, like, oh, I want the highest THC. But to be honest, THC isn't all that what gets you high, or even gives you effects. It's not just the only thing. There's
Right.
more in the plant, and put together, you get that whole different effect. So that's great to hear that. You're also one of the people that's like, what, THC? Just THC? You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
And we're all younger. Don't get me wrong.
When you're younger, it's like, oh, just give me the highest, strongest thing you got, man.
Yeah. The early days of dabbing, hit it while it's red, bro.
Yeah, you scare it, you burn your throat. Yeah, that ain't no fun.
Yeah. Definitely. So that's great. I'm glad that you found some relief through cannabis.
Yes, sir.
And like you're a testament that cannabis can help people, especially on the epilepsy side.
Oh yeah.
Once people started finding out about how cannabis can help you with epilepsy, that kind of was almost a tipping point for us. We had the high CBD plants that started coming in. We had the rest her soul, the girl from Colorado, I forget her name right now. Charlotte, yeah, Charlotte's Web, the cultivar that they had for her.
Yeah, the 5 brothers that got that up growing.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Charlotte passed away during COVID.
Yeah.
And so we lost her, but she literally changed the world. Just being the strong child that she was, and then those brothers really bringing to light the power of CBD, and then it really led to more science being dug into cannabis and the different compounds. And okay, well, if CBD can do this, what can these other compounds can do? What can they do? Because maybe 10 years ago, if you told me, oh, CBN, kind of makes you sleepy, I'd be like, what the fuck is CBN?
Yeah. Nobody back then knew what all these extra CBD deals were, so everyone's like, CBD, THC. That's all anyone knew.
Yeah.
Because one gets you high, one doesn't.
Yeah, and then for a while it was just THC before we knew about CBD. And it still feels kind of new. It was such a crazy thing because you had the Farm Bill, and that changed things like crazy. Like a night and day.
Oh yeah.
Especially for the hemp industry. Things went wild, and people got into it like crazy. A lot of people lost a lot of money. But we'll get into that a little bit more. I digress a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more about 420 at 505.
Yeah, most definitely.
So who is 420 at 505?
Well, 420 at 505, we are a group of just a team. We're a team that was put together from the owners, Jose Zavala, and his investors. They basically decided to put this together at the very start of April 1st last year. They knew it would help people. They knew it was a good business, not only good business, but a good way to help people and make business.
Yeah.
So they've been part of this, and they weren't too sure about it at first. They decided to go along with it full string. And then when I met up with them, I let them know my story, and they were real quick to put me on board. And now I'm a manager for them, helping them run their store. We're definitely all on board to help people make sure we have that genuine relationship with their customer, especially if they're coming in and they need help.
Yeah.
If they need help, if they're looking for, I don't know, any type of relief when it comes to joints, anything exterior, we could definitely set them in the right direction. Anything interior, diagnosis, or if you're just simply recreational and you want to come in and enjoy your day, like I totally understand that too. But yeah, we definitely want you to come in, feel comfortable, feel like you know your bud tender, feel like your bud tender knows you, and we'll be able to get you the right product that you're looking for.
Yeah, nice. Well, I'm glad to hear that. You know, you guys are retail, right?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
fully integrated actually.
Fully integrated.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we're fully integrated. We are getting started on our first grow. Actually,
Okay.
we are getting started on our first grow. Probably just going to be a micro license to start off.
Nice.
But yeah, definitely already getting started on that, and can't wait to get it. We're going to definitely be able to provide a lot of quality medicine for people.
Nice. Is it going to be indoor or is it?
We'll probably definitely be greenhouse.
Greenhouse. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, most definitely.
Greenhouse light depth.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Yeah. It's kind of leaning more to what people do in the greenhouse world is the light depth. And if you guys don't know, watching light depth just means that they have pretty much a cover they put over the greenhouse to mimic nighttime. That way it triggers the plants to flower. So light deprivation.
Gotta play God kind of.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like doing a big indoor grow, but using the sun to help you out, and then you just put this cover over. Like, there you go.
And then bam.
And then bam, there you go. Back in the day, some people use trash cans, the black trash cans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard some people that with the smaller plants, they'll just put a black trash can over it.
Oh yeah. I had a buddy that tried that, and he did it in his closet, so it didn't work out too well for him.
Yeah. Being down here in the flatlands, as they call it, it doesn't work too well for us because of the heat. Maybe up in the mountains that works.
Yeah, I told him to go 3 doso.
Yeah, 3 doso, that might work. So I was going to ask, who is iCanna? Because I've noticed that that's in the name as well.
iCanna is the parent company
of
420 at 505.
Okay.
So yeah, so we actually had a few different names starting out April when everything went rec in 2022. And then as customers came in, we decided that 420 at 505 was the best name for it. That's the one customers were catching on to. It's how everyone was known us for. So iCanna is definitely the parent company for 420 at 505. And that's where we got it.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I kind of figured because it's in there. You have iCanna after. It's like, well, might as well ask.
It's like iCanna presents 420 at 505.
Yeah.
And iCanna is definitely where everything that the owners put it on. That was the original name, iCanna, the big one. And then as we went on for the first few months, everyone was saying, "Oh, go to 420 at 505. They'll help you out." And so we decided 420 at 505 was the name.
Okay, nice. Yeah, well, I mean, that's a cool little story that came along with it. It's like, it's kind of a nickname they gave us.
Right. we were sitting there. iCanna and we were actually best buds.
Okay.
For a while, and then that one just didn't stick. Like everyone was like, "No, 420 at 505. Like hit them, go." And so that's what we did. 420 at 505. iCanna presents. Bam.
Yeah, sometimes the nicknames people give you are the ones that stick and the one that works the best.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
My unit in the Army, we actually got our nicknames from the Marines in World War II. They called us Tropic Lightning because I was stationed in Hawaii with the 25th Infantry Division, and so they said that because we struck like tropic lightning, when we would fight. So that just kind of stuck, and they kind of went along with it. So it kind of reminded me of that. That's funny, like someone else gave you guys that name.
Yeah,
you kind of stuck with it. You went with it. Ran with it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you for your service, man.
Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. And for all my veterans out there, this is actually probably going to be airing later today, as we know this weekend is Veterans Day. So thank you all for your service, those present and past. So hats off, gents. We'll continue on to this episode though. So how long have you been in the cannabis industry?
I've been in the cannabis industry since April 1st last year when everything went rec. With that being said, I do like to add a few years onto that. I did help my grandmother get off of dialysis when she was in her mid-70s, and she didn't get a transplant either. So I started giving her chocolates that were infused, anything that she was willing to try.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make her too uncomfortable, so very low dosages, full spectrum always. And within 3 years, her doctors were astounded. They didn't know what was going on. My grandma told them what they were doing or what she was doing, and they told her not to stop.
Yeah.
They told her just keep eating your edibles, keep getting your compounds in you, and you'll be going out for 10, 15 more years. So,
nice.
So yeah, she's doing great. I've upon my own story, definitely like to use that as some of my experience and the whole start of it. So with it from that leading to helping my friends and their families and my grandmother just as a teenager.
Yeah,
just as a teenager. I never thought we'd make it this far. For sure, I always figured I'd be one of the guys in the traditional aspect, having to help people, just hiding and whatnot. So
carrying a backpack around.
Yeah. So Always riding around on my bike when I was a teenager. I had a backpack, helping out my friends, making sure that they had the medicine they need and their even some of their asthma and there was one other buddy of mine that had epilepsy and none of them liked to smoke.
Yeah.
None of them liked to smoke, so they only wanted edibles. And obviously back then it was not easy to find edibles.
No, you're right.
Yeah, so it was mainly just flour everywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
I would make little trips and find some edibles from very prominent growers and manufacturers that knew what they were doing. They knew what the dosages were. They were able to make full spectrums.
Nice.
So yeah, definitely able to help my community as I was growing up.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so how long have you been working with this company?
This would be a year and a half. It'll be 2 years, April 1st, 2024.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So you've been there. You're getting some experience in.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yeah, working my way up.
Heck yeah, man. And then do you happen to know like what the owners made them want to open up a shop in Las Cruces in particular? Because I know a lot of people chose like Albuquerque. You know what I mean?
Well, I know the owner, Jose, he was born and raised in Las Cruces.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a Las Cruces local. I know he does a lot of business in El Paso right now. So if I know it's more than likely his love for Las Cruces and the people. He definitely knows that Las Cruces has a lot of homeless and it has a lot of people that are going through hard times financially, mentally, physically, all that, emotionally. So we wanted to set up shop, be able to let people know that we're here for them. If they have questions, if they're worried about anything, that they come up to us. We'll talk about it. We'll research it. We'll do whatever we have to be able to get them the product they need and be comfortable with it.
Yeah. Nice. Well,
and then that was the main reason for the owners and Mr. Jose to bring that business over here to Las Cruces, because they know what Las Cruces is impacted by, and we definitely feel like there needs to be a change.
Yeah, so it's more locally owned.
Locally owned,
awesome.
definitely. Yeah, we're the one location for now.
Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, well, good to hear that. And so I've actually been to the spot a couple times. That's where I met you initially when I was dropping off the flyers for the industry sesh.
Oh, yes, sir.
And so it's an interesting shop. What was it before a cannabis dispensary?
So I would say for about 30 to 40 years in between those numbers there, it was a German and Japanese auto shop.
Okay, so it was an import shop. Okay.
It was like the only one for miles. I know a lot of people from El Paso would come over and bring their BMWs and all your foreign cars over there so they could get work done. But yeah, before then, that's all I know it is. It's a big old auto shop. Our drive-through is actually set up where you have to go through the middle garage and then go around the building.
Yeah, that's what I saw. So the bay itself isn't the drive-through; it's on the other side.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So the bay itself, we have a lot of local art in there from
cool.
a lot of local artists. We did support a lot of our local artists to come in, just put some of your guys' art on the walls. Let's rep for Las Cruces and all these Las Cruces artists. So that's what that first bay is a bunch of art.
It's like a drive-by art gallery.
Yeah, basically.
That's
you get to see a lot of the art, and then you go around the building, and then you'll see that window on the south side of the building.
Cool, nice. And so, if you guys don't know New Mexico, we do allow drive-through cannabis sales. Not a lot of states actually do that. So lucky us, and we're really spoiled these days, to be honest. Like, I was thinking about that when we were talking. I was like, man, we really did have it a lot more rough back then.
Yeah,
like it's crazy how more available cannabis is. Like even before we were rec and medical days, the access was very sparse. Even when I first got into the program in 2013, so sparse, and now it's everywhere.
Wow,
so
2013, it's 10 years, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm an old geezer in this old industry. I'll tell you what.
Well, we got to have those pioneers, man. Without pioneers like you, we wouldn't have days like today.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes,
appreciate it 100%. There's a lot of people that came before me too, but yeah.
Well, hats off to them too.
Heck yeah, man. Appreciate it. So what brands do you guys carry in the store?
Oh, man.
And what's your favorite?
Oh, well, so my favorite right now has to be the Phantom Extracts.
Okay.
Yeah, so we definitely have them in there. They're diamonds, they're blueberry diamonds, and they're strawberry guava sunset batter.
Okay.
Definitely carry those. Those have to be my top favorites right now. We also got Mesilla Valley Extracts. We got Sublime. We got Don Verde in there, Desert Peaks. I'm sure if y'all know a few of these producers, you're pretty familiar with them. But yeah, definitely those are top four. We'll jump here and there to get some other brands, try them. I know we had Arrow in there for a little bit. I think we actually still have Arrow in there. Mesilla Valley Extracts. We have a little bit of Bonanza left in there as well.
Okay.
That's let's see. Oh, Yokan. We got all kinds of battery accessories, ooze, Yokan. So definitely, if anyone's trying to smoke some concentrate without having to use the whole rig and the
Yeah.
torch and all that. We definitely got electric ways you could do it, and definitely got was it 1010? We definitely got 1010 in there as well.
1010's kind of, you know, I've been seeing it a lot more.
Yeah, they're definitely starting to come up, and then hopefully, I want to say in a week or two, we will start carrying Dime products in there, and it's Dime Industries. I believe they're the hardware, and they're creating 2-gram disposables that we'll be carrying, and they have 2 ceramic heating plates pressed against each other for the heating element, and it keeps your smoke fresh all the way through. So even if you only got that little bit at the bottom, you'll be able to choke on it right there, that last few puff, and it shouldn't burn your mouth.
Yeah, because a lot of you don't know, when you're smoking a pen or something like that, usually towards the end of it, it starts to taste very harsh, very gross. You know, it kind of doesn't have a great flavor. It's pretty much all been gone, so that's good to hear. You know,
yeah, it's definitely. So we'll have those in stock here soon, and we'll be ready to go. They're actually made to, you could put them upside down out of your bong, and you could smoke these pens out of your bong.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've actually seen that, like the attachments and stuff.
Well, it's not even an attachment. It's just so like it's like the thickness of a I want to say like a regular vape. Has a real good big thick pen, a big old chamber for 2 grams. You got to have a big chamber, right? Sure. And then you could literally upside down. You could hit your button, keep it on instead of your bowl. You know, take your bowl out and just put it on top of your downstem.
Oh,
and then you can just hit it like that. It creates the seal and everything.
Nice. It's about a 14 millimeter size.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think it's right at 14.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
because it fits perfect on mine, and that's what I run. I run a 14 millimeter.
Yeah, and that's like one of the most commons. You know, I don't really see 18 as much.
No,
you know, that's
even 12s. I haven't seen a 12 in a while.
That's true. Yeah, I kind of feel like 14 has kind of been more standardized.
14, 16, I want to say.
Yeah, 16. That is true.
Yeah, I've had a few of those that I broke and couldn't find.
That's always the worst. Dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what size this is, and I do 3D printing stuff, calipers now, so I'm like, I know now.
Yeah, exactly.
So, do you guys have any new brands coming into the store, or is it?
So the Dime for sure, that one will be coming in. I don't believe there's going to be too many others coming in. As I said, we are going to be getting our grow going. So as soon as we can, we're going to have qualified 420 at 505 products.
Nice.
From our grow hitting the shelves.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
That'd be great. I'll be excited to see that.
Oh, dude, we're all excited.
Yeah,
we're all pumped.
I'm always excited to see new flower coming out in the market. And
new flower, new strains, something different.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So when I met you, you know, I was giving you, like I said, I was giving you the flyer and everything. You know, we were really getting into some advocacy stuff. You know,
yes, sir.
I invited you over. You came. You spoke. It was great. So, are you trying to get more involved with that in the legislative side?
I'm definitely trying to learn more about it. I never been a fan of too much politics. Born and raised, Cruces Hatch. I was on the farms and the ranch, and then after the farm and the ranch stuff went, I was on blue collar.
Yeah.
So never really was part of it, but now that I've learned it affects us so sorely.
Yeah.
It definitely changed my mind on wanting to learn more about it. So I totally understand if any of our viewers out there right now are listening to this and they agree that they just don't like dealing with politics. I'm the same way. I do not like dealing with them. But it is a huge, huge deal nowadays, especially for the cannabis industry and your communities, schools, any of that. So hope you guys voted. It's the big deal nowadays, and we definitely got to learn more about it. Even if we're not liking it, we don't want to be a part of it, anything like that, we definitely need to be at least learning about it.
Yeah.
Learning about it, putting our votes in, making sure that our voices are heard.
Yeah. Because if you guys didn't know, this past Tuesday was election day, the local elections, and I think statewide there's only 20,000 voters. Yeah. Maybe that was the whole county. But, you know, that's not a lot of voters for a state with 2.2 million people. And even when we have a gubernatorial election or a governor election, the numbers still aren't as much as it is with the presidential. And even then, on a national level, it's less than half of the nation is really what's voting. And it's very important because on a local level, we could really change an election with a couple hundred votes. And that's really what it came down to. Yeah. With the mayor race, it came down to, I think, a couple of hundred votes is really what it was. That's like 200 or 300 votes. It's a very tight race. Some of them weren't as tight, but there was a couple that were really tight and went down to a couple hundred votes. And so that could be the deciding factor. And with that being a low turnout, just historically with local elections, just how they are, we could make a big difference by being the younger voters. Because even within the younger bracket, because how old are you?
I am 20. I'll be 27 on Christmas.
So within like the 18 to about 28 age range, the voting percentages are very, very low.
Right.
And even at my age, at 36, I get a letter in the mail stating that I'm like 90% more likely to vote than other people because of my voting history or something like that. And I'm like, that's crazy. People should be voting more.
Yeah. Like, let's learn more about it. I know
Yeah.
it could be a pain. It could drive some of us bonkers.
Yeah.
But it's important that we learn about it. At least learn about it. Learn who's running, because these are the people making our decisions for us. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't like people making decisions for me.
100%. And we are a nation of representation. And so these people represent you and they work for you. So they are the ones that should be able to listen to you on what we want. And this is what we're doing. We're telling our representatives what we want. And getting into politics sucks, don't get me wrong, but this is also the game we decided to play by joining the cannabis industry, because this is government ran program. So if this was something else, it'd be different. But it's the game we got to play. And if we don't play it, we lose. And we saw that this past year with that bill that failed. That probably could have gave micro producers more plants, could have had way more changes for us that were positive, but it didn't pass because it didn't have the industry support. And now we have the chance to change that. So with people like you, being like, holy shit, I can make a difference.
Yeah, you can make a difference for sure. And like I said, y'all, like, I do not like politics. I am not that type of guy. I'm a middle of the ranch, hunting and fishing, living type of guy. I really don't. I really don't mess with politics. But after these past 3 to 4 years, starting to learn more about it, see how much it affects us personally and your friends, your family, loved ones. It affects us all.
Yeah.
And if we don't start jumping the gun, getting up there, putting our votes in, learning who these people are, why they're running, what they're going to do, the changes they want to make, we got to make sure and put our voice out there.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, that's a good message for the whole community and the whole cannabis industry in general here in the state. So I appreciate that. Speaking of, what other does 420 at 505 have any plans for the community stuff? Like anything
so
for that?
there's definitely been donations that we've been doing for the community this past 2 years. Halloween costumes for the kids. We've also done other like food drives and deals like that.
Nice.
Even was it clothes? We even donated clothes to the homeless and helped them out.
Nice.
And I mean, occasionally there was a time where I got to sit down with someone that happened to be walking around on Valley or something, and you could tell that they were down on their luck and they just weren't having a good day and the whole nine. So I got a moment to be able to talk to one of them, and I was able to give him a few bucks, and he was willing to work. He was picking up trash, he was cleaning up and just sweeping and mopping and just doing whatever he possibly could. So I know there's still a lot of those out there who are willing to work, willing to put in the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was able to bless him with some money and thank him for his hard work that he did. And so there's a few times where I'm able to, do a notion like that for somebody.
Nice.
But yeah, for the most part, that's more personal. 420 at 505, we definitely do food drives. We'll definitely help out kids with Halloween costumes.
Oh, that's cool.
However it goes, I know there's a big deal when it comes to like kids and the cannabis industry and all this other stuff. Like there's a lot of do's and don'ts. So
yeah,
we keep it pretty separate. We'll take the donations from the customers as they come in. If they want to donate, then great. If not, then that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all in our own deal. Like we are either here or up here or down there. So we got to do what we can. And the ones that are more fortunate to have those extras and donate, we're thankful for them. The kids that get them are thankful for them. Even the people who get the food from the food drives, I know they're all very thankful. So yeah, that's definitely something 420 at 505 does. We are looking to start doing even more for the community. We definitely want to do community pickups.
Okay.
And like be able to pick up trash, definitely help families in need, stuff like that.
Yeah. And that's great, because, retail and just cannabis industry in general, we're not just here to get people stoned and high or medicated. And as for a patient, we're here to help the community as well. And that's great to hear. And
we're part of the community. Yeah. We're part of the community just as the gas station, or the Sonic down the road.
Yeah.
We're just as much as part of it as everybody else. And there isn't no reason for that extra hand to be sent out, for some help. Everyone deserves a second chance.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I appreciate that, guy. And speaking of a community, what other plans or events do you guys have planned?
So that's a big one.
All right.
We have a huge event coming up this weekend. I've been working it working on it all year. Big shout out to DGO Mag and Michelle down there up in Colorado for helping me get this together. The reason this is coming to fruition is because me and my brother Cisco, we went up to Farmington earlier this year, and they had their first cannabis crawl from the DGO company, and it was huge. It was amazing. I saw so many people. There was lines in every dispensary that was participating. There was huge awareness made for all the local mom and pop shops that were trying to generate some business up there. So it was beautiful. The whole main deal of the event is you start at Dreams Dispensary out here in Las Cruces, New Mexico at 10 p.m. tomorrow morning. That's Friday, November 10th. And you'll start at Dreams Dispensary. They will give you a goodie bag and a passport. On that passport, there's going to be all the qualifying dispensaries and a map of where they are. You can go to each dispensary, get a sticker from that dispensary, and then once you have a completed passport, you're going to take that passport down to 420 at 505, hang out with me and my bud tenders and my staff, and we'll put you and your passport into a raffle for $1,000 cash. So the only way you get the raffle is if you complete all the dispensaries. Make sure you're not required to purchase, but there's going to be deals, events. There's going to be like little market and vendors, food trucks, almost at every single dispensary. So there's going to be deals at every dispensary that are going to be hard to pass up.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like a whole new set of 420 deals.
Yeah.
Except for we're out here in the end of the year. We're going to kick it up.
Yeah.
So you'll definitely be tempted. Make sure and talk to your bud tenders at every dispensary. See what kind of deals they got going on. See what type of events they got going outside in their parking lot. Never know. You might just see Hot 103 out there. And then, you'll get all those stickers. You'll come turn it into me, 420 at 505, and we'll put you in a raffle for $1,000 cash at the end of it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear that you guys are doing that. Something for the community. And, it's a little more complex than I thought it was at first. I thought it was going to be deals and you go around, but, you have vendors, you have food trucks at every location. That actually kind of makes it a little more worth it.
Yeah, and it's all up to the dispensary if they want to have vendors outside and food trucks and everything else, but we definitely highly recommend it because it's going to bring business to those food trucks and to those other local market vendors.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we got all friends and family trying to build a business, right?
Yeah.
So here it is. Let's give them a chance, give locals to, branch out, see more of what the local community is trying to build, and we can really make some dreams come true out here.
100%, man. I agree. So thank you for sharing that for me. And if you guys are free this weekend, you want to go tomorrow, the starting place is at Dreams tomorrow. So
and that's on what is that? Picacho next to Harbor Freight and the courthouse. So is it the
old courthouse?
Yeah, was it municipal?
Yeah, I think it's municipal.
Yeah, I think it's municipal courthouse. That's Picacho and Maine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And since you guys are the end point of this all, where can they find you in town and online?
So online, we are on Weed Maps. Definitely, if you just Google 420 at 505, you'll see us pop up. But we're definitely on Weed Maps. And in Cruces, we are located on North Valley Drive, 505 North Valley Drive. We are right across the street from the Save Mart grocery store and the Auto Collision Center.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
And definitely, then that's where you'll drop off. We'll have plenty of vendors there, food trucks. We'll have barbecue, the whole nine. So check out the local vendors that we got going on. Check out the deals. Have a great time. Get your buddies and your friends, family, whoever's cannabis friendly, and let them know about the crawl. And let them know about the $1,000 that you could win at the very end. If you can't win if you don't complete it.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, and thank you for being on the show with me and sharing, 420 at 505, man.
Well, Chad, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it, and thank you for your service once again, man.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
I can't, I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation with you.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah, man. So we're going to move on with the conversation in the podcast. Everybody got a couple more topics to talk about. That was a great conversation that we had right there, and there were some good points that we made in there too. So I really want to congratulate Ohio. They became the 24th state to legalize cannabis in the United States. So bravo to y'all. It's been a hard fight for them. I've actually been watching them for the past almost 3 years that they've been trying to do this. It's been failing. And I have friends that live over there, and they're like, oh, what the hell? And then finally they got a good bill. 21 and over to consume, just like every other state. Home grows are allowed, and it's pretty much exactly like ours. 6 mature, no more than 12 per household.
Right. Okay.
However, I didn't see anything on the news thing. I didn't look at the bill. I'm not going to go through the bill. I go through my bill enough. I don't need other people's bills in my head.
Got a lot of pages to read nowadays.
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember my bill and not other people's bill. So from there, it didn't seem like they mentioned anything of an immature plant count like we have here. So that could maybe not be a thing. Who knows? Maybe they don't care about the immature plants because, I mean, what are you going to get from an
Yeah,
immature
they're
plant?
just immature.
Yeah, there's no flower out of them. So yeah, and that's for household. Their tax is going to be 10%. I don't know if that's 10% across the board with the municipals, meaning city and county. Here in New Mexico, we're at a 12%. However, the city and county are allowed at 8%. Together, of course, they take 4 each, and that equals up to 20%.
Yo.
And so that's how we get our 20%. However, I'm not too sure about theirs, so I'm sure in the coming months we're going to figure out if this is a 10% with the city and the county in there, and then state gets the 5, or whatever, or this is going to be 10 plus that too. So we'll see. We'll see what that is. Like I said, I'm not going to read their bill, but congratulations to them. Hard fighting. Now we're almost halfway there.
Yeah, we're almost there. Yeah,
Yeah.
the last time I actually drove through Ohio about 3 or 4 years ago. I was on a plumbing contract out there, and yeah, dude, I was hurting.
Yeah.
I was hurting. I was looking for buddies, and I was like, hey, I need some cannabis, man. Anyway,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, we're still fighting bills, and we're still doing all that. So yeah, going through Ohio about 4 years ago, it was a rough time.
100%.
Yeah.
I could see that. And they were telling, a couple of friends were telling me, the punishments and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you're scared to even look for it.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So yeah, congratulations, Ohio. And I just wanted to, pause and congratulate them on that because it's a long, hard fight.
Yeah, and
we know how that is here.
Yeah, it's what 24th, right? 24th.
Yeah,
state?
24th state.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
Yeah,
let's
keep them going.
It going.
Maybe the federal government would change something, and that just will number keep going up quicker.
Exactly.
We'll see. Times are changing and things are changing. So, but anyway, we'll keep on with the conversation. We're going to talk about cannabis and heart attacks, and this is what I had talked about earlier. And I really wanted to bring this up because there's a lot of people that have been posting this now. Actually, before I showed up, there's a couple of cannabis pages that I follow on Instagram that were posting about these articles, and I really wanted to clarify and also talk about it, and also be fair with it, because we are still studying cannabis. I'm a cannabis lover myself. I don't want things like this to be true or anything like that. Like when I read these, I look for something to pick it apart to see, oh, okay, this is what that means. This is what this means. Oh, it's not for sure. And that's kind of what I found out with this. So what they did is they checked people from 2007 to 2018. They went through medical records. And it was from people from 18 to 34. And they kind of went through there and they kind of looked at heart issues, other issues. In one of the studies, because this was 2. One, what I saw, they looked at people 50 and over, and the one that I saw with this was 18 to 34. So I think there was 2 different studies going on almost at the same time. I'm sure there's studies going on all the time, let's be honest. And so the 2 that I saw, which was interesting, one was 50, one was 18 to 34. And they did say that there was an increase of heart risks when it comes to using cannabis, anywhere from 10 to 20% in certain people, et cetera, et cetera. And of course, as you get older, your risk for heart issues does increase. Now, they did say, and they have been saying this for a long time, that people who don't use cannabis before their brain matures do run into issues of psychosis and other issues maturing. So they recommend that you wait until your brain fully matures to use cannabis, which is around the age of 23 to 25. And so that is something I wanted to throw in there, caveat, that is part of science. Kids shouldn't be using cannabis unless they need it medically, like, someone like yourself who's, suffering of epilepsy.
Yeah.
That's something totally different. But if you're just wanting to get high, you shouldn't be drinking, you shouldn't be smoking weed, you shouldn't be smoking tobacco. I know kids still do it and they get their hands on it, but they shouldn't be doing it in the first place, and it shouldn't be promoted.
There's a 21 age
for a reason.
Limit.
Yeah.
For a reason.
Yeah, it's 21 for a reason. So yeah, and this study was looking at people as young as 18.
Yeah.
And so that's well under the threshold of the 24 to 25. And even at 36 now, sitting here, I've only been pretty much at the mature brain age for about a decade. Less than a decade. So it's like, wow, someone may have to wait that long if they don't want to run into these issues. Now, I really want to get into the dirty with this. There is a lot of caveats that they did say, that more studies do need to be made on this, that we do need to be careful because we don't know enough about cannabis. Fair enough. We still are studying it, like we were just talking about earlier. 10 years ago, if you told me what CBN was, I would have told you to fuck off.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, we're still learning things about the cannabis plant, how it's being produced, the methods that we use to produce it. These things also may take into account, nowhere in this study did I see that the samples or the cannabis that these people have used have been sampled and taken in. They could have been using bad cannabis, something with Eagle 20.
Yeah.
Something sprayed with that's terrible for you.
Yeah.
Other pesticides used in it. There could have been mold and mildew that could have added to something else. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about we have to look out at how the plant was grown. So that's one thing that I'm really skeptical when it comes to studies like this, because okay, yeah, you're blaming the plant, but we're not looking at something that is as standardized as Coca-Cola.
Right.
Like cannabis is so everywhere right now that we can't just say, okay, we're going to study Coca-Cola because, well, everywhere you go, Coca-Cola is pretty much the same.
Yeah, same ingredients.
Yeah, and people claim and swear that Mexican Coca-Cola is the best. So whatever, you have your opinion on that, whatever it is. But what I'm trying to say is that it's not standardized enough for us to sit there and say all cannabis is going to do this to you, because not all cannabis is grown the same. Not all cannabis is processed the same.
Right.
So that's one thing that I'm curious to see what these studies are going to do in the future, is they're going to dig in deeper to, okay, what kind of cannabis were you smoking? Was it Reggie from Mexico that has
came in a brick?
Yeah, came in a brick and you get a pleasant surprise sometime? Or was this grown indoors, very clean environment, and it was, processed and, grown with love?
Right. Well, organics.
Yeah, organics.
Organics. It's a big deal. I do believe, especially I have a lot of friends in Hatch, and they got their own little plot in their backyard.
Yeah.
Farmed up and plowed up to do their own sets of chili.
Yeah.
And they're doing that because they want to do it completely, fully organic. They don't want none of the pesticides. They want to do nothing on it. They want to have that premium chili.
Yeah.
And I mean, world chili capital of the world,
Yeah,
so, so we got residents in Hatch that are just going to make their own without having to do the big bulk that goes all over. So yeah, definitely, it's a lot similar to that. Once a lot of people get this cannabis out, they want to know if it's organic, how it was made, who grew it, what it was grown with, the whole 9 yards, because that's going to depicate if 100%. You got a good bud or not.
Yeah, because it looks from this that they looked at over 800,000 people's records. They weren't studying 800,000 people throughout time. So that's why when I look at this study, they're just looking at the data and numbers.
They tested positive for THC.
And some of these people had what they're calling cannabis use disorder, CUD, and they're saying that that's increasing with cannabis becoming more available. Now, what we're seeing also is alcohol being decreasing in use as well. On top of that, actually, Gen Z, I'm saying that right? Gen Z.
I think I'm a millennial.
I mean, everyone has, I'm a millennial too.
Yeah, I think I'm a millennial.
But Gen Z, we're technically Gen Y. But But Gen Z, they are actually drinking significantly less than even our generation. Our generation was already drinking significantly less than the generation before. So now we're seeing a trend of less drinking and more cannabis use. So now we're going to be relying more on science to kick in and not just the numbers, because you can be very misled if you look at just numbers. NASA doesn't even rely on just numbers. Yes, they use the math and everything to use their calculations, but then they build it, they test it again, it fails, they look at the numbers, oh crap, our numbers were wrong.
Right.
So they go back and they test it. They don't just look at the numbers and say, oh, this is going to work like this, build it like that and shoot it up there.
Mm-hmm.
They have to test it. They do small scale testing. They do larger scale testing, and then they finally go up to the big one, and then they do the test there. So now, it's not like SpaceX where they have unlimited money where they can just shoot whatever up in the air. Didn't work this time. What happened? Well, this and this. Okay, shoot another one next week. They don't have that much money, but even they don't rely on putting people in that cockpit unless they're for sure.
Yep.
Even SpaceX, they don't rely on just numbers and that they have to test things. And so that's what I'm getting at with this. We can't just rely on just this numbers and these datas to come out with this conclusion. And that's even what the people who did the study said. We need to test it more, and we need more time, and we need more studying on cannabis. And so take this with a grain of salt. However, be weary at the same time. We are still learning things about the plant that we love so much and that have saved many people's lives. So again, take everything in here almost with a grain of salt, just for the fact that the way that the study was conducted and the other caveats that I put in there. We don't know what kind of cannabis these people are using. And this was from 2007. No state in the nation had legal cannabis in 2007. Yeah. That's when they started this data. So there was still Reggie running around. I remember moving back from Hawaii in 2012-ish. Yeah, 2012. And we were still picking up Reggie sometimes. Reggie, if you couldn't find anything.
Reggie and swag was the
mids all over the place. Yeah. So this is, alarming on a large scale. I've been sent this article a couple times. People are like, oh my God, look at this. But, when you look at things at a bigger picture and you step back and you just, I wouldn't say disregard the numbers, but you use the numbers as a part of a tool in your toolbox, that helps. But then we have to look at the other key factors too. And I think that's one thing that the people in the study, even at the end of it, were trying to say. That
Right.
yeah, this is alarming. These numbers are saying this, but it doesn't conclude if cannabis really does do this in the end.
Right.
They're like, we're skeptical, and we kind of feel it might. Because they do say that smoking anything does raise your risk. And
Oh, yeah.
you shouldn't be smoking anything, let's be honest. But this really isn't concrete. So I mean, how do kind of you feel about
I mean, definitely something to be on the nose for. Keep an eye out. But yeah, definitely, I agree with what you're saying. Is that study it kind of seems like they just took the data from people who were tested positive for THC, and that's most of the country.
Yeah,
So,
100,000 people.
Yeah. So if that's their control right there, then I definitely think they would need a better control.
Yeah.
For that study.
Yeah.
Just because I don't think that data would have told if they had this in their system or that in their system.
Yeah.
Or this is what they do for a living. Even I mean, if you're a high energy job where you're climbing 300, 400 foot towers every day on cell towers or antenna towers, whatever you're doing, that's a lot.
In an environment,
yeah,
where you live. And they did say in the study that they did account for other things, other drug uses, alcohol and tobacco in certain parts of it. I didn't see anything about environmental stuff where they live. Like if you live in LA, you have a higher chance of having issues due to the fact of pollution.
Yep.
There's the air is crappy there. Let's be honest. Our air isn't great in New Mexico, but it's significantly better. We can at least breathe and we can see the sky, and it's not hazy.
Well, we only have the one metro area, huh?
Yeah, El Paso.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, it's really all we got right there. And and the study is actually about the size of El Paso, is the control that they used.
Oh, okay.
So that's to kind of give you guys an idea of how big of a control that is. It's about the size of El Paso, is the people that they use for the study, and it's quite a few people. But at the same time, there's a few things that we have to keep in mind about this study. So what I kind of feel this is it's a starting point for the scientists. So like, oh, we have this data here. This is interesting.
Yeah.
We're seeing these patterns and these trends. So let's look into it more.
Right.
Scientists don't care about your feelings. So when these come out, they seem very harsh. And I understand that. And very smart people have very bad social skills. And I understand that. So when you see something like this, it looks very, very negative. But you have to look at it from a scientific point of view, so you don't get overworked and you go and start writing things on the internet that are just very misleading.
Definitely go into any of that research with an open mind.
Yes.
I love scientists, and I love the way they think. For that reason, the quote, question everything.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day of your life. Question.
Yep. Yeah. And this study was conducted by American Heart Association.
Oh.
I wanted to give everybody that caveat too. So it wasn't like Pfizer or anybody like that, or they could be connected to them. If you guys want to dig in deeper, please dig in deeper. I just wanted to give a full disclosure that American Heart Association was the one who was conducting this research. So just give you guys full disclosure that real doctors and everything were on this one. So that's really all I had for this one. Do you have anything before we move on it?
I'm good.
All right, cool. Yeah. So I'll probably keep more eye on this. We're going to find out more in the coming years and the months about something like this, but I'm more curious to see the real data when it comes to
definitely more accurate data for sure.
100%.
Yeah,
but this is a starting point.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, at least there is studies already being started.
Yes,
because that's like you were saying earlier. We need more research into all this whole industry.
Yeah,
growing, manufacturing, producing, retail, all of it.
Yeah,
all of it. It's such a fresh, brand new industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does just like industrial.
Yeah.
It's started something new.
Yeah.
Let's dive into it. Let's research. Let's get it done.
Yeah, because we're only finding out the issues that vaping tobacco has really caused now. About a decade into it.
Correct.
So it takes about a decade for us to get and collect data to figure out really what happens. So now we're about 10 years in with the legal industry. We're finding more things out. What it does cause, what it doesn't cause. It doesn't cause more issues on the road. That's good. That's what we're finding out. There could be more studies coming out that say otherwise, but that's not here nor there yet. So
right.
But anyway, we'll move on from this. Like I said, I'll keep everybody, updated what goes on with this as time goes, once we get more data.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So last topic of the day, Canada is heading into its second bubble. And I say that because a lot of their greenhouses are actually either being abandoned or they're being sold and not being used, or they're being repurposed. Like one company is actually starting to grow cucumbers. And I think I saw another one a few months back was starting to grow a certain flower because the cannabis industry there just wasn't profitable enough. And there's a few reasons why. Canada, they didn't limit how many plants you can grow, and I think they have a certain license. I mean, their whole industry is on a nationwide kind of thing, and the way that
Oh,
they did it,
okay.
yeah, it's on a nationwide. The whole country, it's legal there, but they can't export cannabis to the United States or any other country. So
Right.
that's the one issue they're running into. They have all this cannabis, but nowhere to go. And so if they're able to export it, they'll probably have a better time because let's be honest, they don't. If they weren't able to export their maple syrup, I don't know how well the industry would go.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a big one right there.
yeah, yeah.
That's a big one.
So, if you think of it like their maple syrup, if they can't take that to the United States or any other country, really, or even Mexico or, Europe, they're really limiting themselves on how much money they can make. And that's what's happening here. And so once we start seeing more nations go legal, like the United States, our neighbor to the north has it legal. If we go legal, that opens it up for not just interstate commerce, but international
Yeah,
commerce.
international.
And so that will be a huge game changer, not just for America, but for Canada. So that's actually going to be another crazy factor that we have to put into account is once we go legal, that's going to open up. And this surplus that they have right now might change again. So the people that are going from cannabis to cucumber might go back to cannabis if the demand goes back up. Because right now, due to that, their demand is too high because they don't have a limit on square footage on how much you can grow.
Oh,
Unlike in New Mexico, we have a
right.
plant count, which to be honest, I think the 20,000 is too high. It needs to be a little lower because 20,000 plants is a lot of plants.
Yeah,
And you know that if you harvest 20,000 plants and they at least 1 pound each, that's 20,000 pounds of cannabis, which most outdoor plants do reach to, hopefully, if you're doing it right, more than a pound each. And so that's a lot of cannabis.
Yeah.
And if you do have too much cannabis and nowhere to go, you run into this issue. And they're starting to see more places close down. One thing I will say though is their customer base is different than our customer base here in the United States. Their customer base, their flower industry is starting to go down. So
Really?
the demand for flower over there is going down. The demand for pre-rolls is going up. And so their whole mindset and use is changing. So we're getting a different generation of cannabis users, not only in the United States, but all over the world.
And they'd rather just have the
pre-roll.
Yeah, the pre-roll and go, I guess.
Yeah, and go. And it's legal nationwide there. So it's a different mindset than us here.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, flower, this and that. And
Sorry to
No, go ahead.
I did hear maybe you could correct me on this if it's wrong, but I did hear that they only sell 10 milligram bags of gummies instead of having like 100 milligrams in one bag. I heard that they only allow 10 milligrams per person.
Really?
Per cell.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like you'd have to go back in 10 times and get that same gummy.
Yeah.
Just to have 100 milligrams.
Yeah.
So I was like, if they're selling, I don't know if you're selling one gummy at 10 milligrams or 10 gummies that have 1 milligram in them, and you're paying $10-15 for that bag, and you have to go 10 different times, so you have 100 milligrams. You're spending over $100.
That's crazy.
Just for 100 milligrams.
Yeah.
And down here, there's bags of 100 milligram gummies going $25.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so I definitely heard that Canada has a different dosage limit when it comes to their edibles.
Mm-hmm.
So like the people out there, they're not getting 100 milligrams right away. They get to sit on 10.
Yeah.
And like
that's crazy
because that's not a whole lot.
Yeah, if you're a new user, I could see using 10 milligrams. But if you're a patient or someone who's been using cannabis for a very long time, I mean, you're gonna laugh at a 10 milligram.
Yeah, 10. That's breakfast.
Yeah, like I'm sitting now with more than 10 milligrams. Like in the system, just sitting with a nanogram in my blood. There's more than 10 grams. Yeah, there's more than that in there.
This is just okay.
Yeah, it's like all right, this is nothing. So yeah, and I can see that. That's interesting. I'll have to look that up to see, what their limits are on edibles because I never thought of that.
Yeah, no, it was actually another friend of mine in the industry
Mm-hmm.
that was telling me about that. He said he was up in Canada for a little bit, and they just don't have great edible choices. Like their edibles themselves, like the candies, the chocolates, they're all great. They all taste great. They're made with really good ingredients. But if you're looking for that THC, you're only going to get 1 milligram.
Yeah. And to be honest, one of their issues is that their demand for high THC over there is so crazy that anything under 25% is getting no love.
Oh, wow.
So I guess they're worse than us when it comes to their knowledge on terpenes and other spectrums of the cannabis plant. So that's kind of just a customer base. And that's actually where, so Gino just looked it up and it is, it's a maximum of 10 milligrams per package.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah. See, I don't know.
I hope that's a $5 bag.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you would have to, and then like you're not allowed to purchase more than your 10 milligrams, so you have to buy your 10 milligrams, go back out to your car. If they let you come back in, then you get to go back in and then do the whole transaction over again. But other than that, if you can't do that at that one shop, you're going to multiple shops, getting the 10 milligram bag for $5, $10, $15, whatever it is.
I feel like that meme right now where that math is just flying
Oh.
out of my head. Yeah, just everywhere. I'm just like, what?
Dot the I, cross the T, times it by pi, and then what's the square root?
Yeah, it's just like, still doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
What is this?
that is crazy. So Gino has some stuff pulled up right now. Thank you for that, by the way. And it looks like in a bag of 4, you can have 2.5 milligrams for the per piece at 4 pieces each, and that would equal your 10 milligrams. That's
oh my goodness.
That's a little ridiculous. Or you can have 2 5-milligram pieces or 1 milligram piece. So it's 10 milligrams per package. That's ridiculous.
And down here it's 10 milligrams per gummy.
Yeah, per gummy.
Yeah,
that you
per
can have,
gummy you have 10 milligrams
per piece. And then you can have lower because I know at Sandia or Oleo they're coming out with these Skittles.
Yeah.
And they're like 2.5 milligrams each, I think, or 1 point.
That's perfect for a low dose.
Oh, dude, it's great. I had a bag and I was just sitting there. I was like, this is great. I can have like 5, 6. You know,
you're not going to overdo it.
Yeah, you know, this is great. Yeah, have a little handful.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half later, you're not like, oh, I got to go home, man.
Yeah, it's like, oh, no.
820 milligrams.
Yeah, and I was wondering when a product like that would come online because, you know, there is a need for people to want to indulge and enjoy edibles without being able to just eat one 250 milligram cookie and be like, whoa,
and then you're done.
Yeah, because my mom's done that many times. I'm like, please eat one cookie. And she's like, but they were so good. And she's sitting there like, So, and that could be another thing that, you know, they're running into.
Yeah.
You know, maybe edibles are taking over a little bit more. And, you know, it's interesting to see the trends that happen in Canada and the United States because we have 2 different models.
Yeah.
Ours is federally illegal. The states decide. Theirs is totally legal, you know, and it's ran by pretty much the federal government. And it's sanctioned by, you know, I don't think they call them states. I think they're called provinces. I think they call them provinces. In Mexico, they're states. I hate it when, you know, places change it because in Iraq it was provinces too. And so and then the provinces have their own thing. I haven't really dove deep into, you know, how it's regulated fully. You know, I really focus on the United States and, you know, on New Mexico. In general, because where I make my own money. But this right here, I'm bringing up because if you look at this, it'll give us an outlook of what is to come for us in the future once we go federally legal and what we can expect once we're more of a mature industry on the federal level side.
Yeah.
You know, we're going through our first bubble as a state industry right now. You know, the whole bubble burst, you know, we're oversaturated, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes,
Everyone knows that. But that's part of the bubble. We're going to see our second one once Texas goes legal.
Oh, yeah.
Then we'll see our third one, or it could be mixed in with our second once we go federally legal, which both could happen at the same time with federally legalization and Texas going online. We're just going to see another bubble happen here in New Mexico. Now, if you look at this here in Canada, what's going on, we're going to see trends start to dictate our industries too. So the trend that we're seeing in Canada is flower going down, pre-rolls going up. And so that could also dictate less production of flower on top of that because people are buying less flower with pre-rolls. Usually they buy 1 to 2 at a time, which is about 1 to 2 grams. About average, I think here in the state, it's like 2.5 grams or almost an eighth is our average.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, about an eighth is the average. And so you drop down about a gram. Well, on a large scale, that adds up.
Yes, yeah.
And so we're seeing about 18% lower at its peak than what it was at a time. And so that kind of mimics that there too. So, you know, you're looking at the numbers and you have to look on the outside of everything else going on too. And that kind of correlates with this. And so also, some of these places that shut down, I just saw this right now. I was like, oh crap. So one place was at 76 million square feet of canopy growth. And so that is one testament of why they had too much cannabis. Yeah. So there is a limit of how much you should be growing.
Yeah.
And that is too much because if they were having international commerce, that may have been okay.
That would have worked out.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know,
that's the
maple syrup.
Imagine being in that field though.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And that's lost in it.
And that's a greenhouse.
Oh
yeah. That's a greenhouse. That's not outdoor. So it seems that outdoor isn't being shut down as much as the greenhouses are and indoor. So for some reason, we're having that weird. And what it is you have higher quality indoor.
Oh yeah.
Usually a lot of the times, and I'm sure in Canada, their growing season's different. And only actually outdoor wise, you can only grow in a very small portion of that country. I think 70% of that country is unable to grow. It's too rocky. It's literally just full of rock. So, and actually, I think 70 to 80% of Canadians live below the American borderline, meaning, you know, Canada dips down on the East Coast.
Right.
Most of the Canadians live in that dip right there, just how about 70% of Americans live on the East Coast.
Oh, okay.
You know, the West Coast is very more sparse. And so in Canada, due to the fact that they can only grow in that area where most of the Canadians are, that's where most of the cannabis is being grown outdoors. They have a very short growing season out there. They're not blessed like us where we have all of this growing area and, you know, that we have in the nation. So I'm sure there's certain areas of Canada that can grow crops and everything, but majority of them are done in one part of the nation because the rest of the part of the nation just is unable to grow.
Right. Yeah, you know? It's not nutrient enough.
It's too rocky. You know, like maybe trees will grow and stuff, but it's not good for, you know, agriculture.
Yeah.
You know, like you'll maybe have trees and stuff and brush and those kind of greenery that's natural.
Yeah.
But as for farming,
on the rock,
as for farming, it's just not obtainable.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't do it. So that's one reason why that is happening too, because of the way their country's set up. You know, and I mean, when you have like 70-80% of your country living on one side of the country, you know, it's pretty lopsided.
Yeah.
You know, even for us, and it's theirs is more condensed, ours is a little more spread out. But we have more farmland.
Yeah,
you know, more obtainable farmland. Now they kick our ass in maple and hockey, but you know, they have our hand on that. Maple syrup and hockey, they kick our ass in. But, you know, as for, you know, the farming outdoors, that's where we have an upper hand. And now they obviously have more room for the huge, massive greenhouses that we're seeing like on here.
Yeah, that's a big greenhouse.
Yeah,
like,
you know,
I actually just got to see a 9,000 plant. I got a tour of a 9,000 plant count this morning.
Yeah,
and I couldn't believe it. I've seen maybe the biggest grow I've ever seen was probably about 1,000.
Wow.
Yeah, probably about 1,000. I haven't been able to take too many tours.
Yeah.
The retail has been taking my life over. Yeah. But yeah, getting to see that farm today, this morning actually, it was impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive. And just to see the amount or the yield that 9,000 plants would give, I couldn't imagine having a building that big and
millions of square feet.
Millions of square feet.
That's
for
insane.
Plants. Like,
yeah.
What kind of, did you estimate a number? Like,
I didn't even think to estimate like, how many plants would be in there, but that's a lot.
You know how much staff you would have for the trimming season and all that. Oh,
yeah, and you know that all that adds up. And so like if you don't have the demand like this, you know, and the demand was here, but then it starts to go here, you know, like all industries do after a while.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're going to run into this. So they're going in with another bubble. I think this is their second or third bubble that they're going through because, of course, they had the first one when oversaturation kicked in and then the market stabilized. And now the demand changed. So now the market is going into another unstabilized market bubble. And now it's going to stabilize again once they figure that out. Now, if we go federally legal here in the nation and we start international commerce, that could help them out. And it could help us out, too.
Do you know the big difference between Canadian flower and our flower? Like
price-wise?
Well, I mean, mainly in the cannabinoids and
the quality. So a lot of people used to, you know, BC bud this, BC bud that.
Yeah, I've always heard about British Columbia bud.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, you know, but to be honest, these days it's kind of fallen off. And, you know, if looking at this, you know, that there's saying that there's a lot of mids, you know, in this, you know, study here, they're saying there's a lot of low quality cannabis on the market too. And so that's another reason why they're having these issues, because these places that have these big grows, they're producing low quality,
right?
You know, mid to low quality cannabis, and that's not great on a large scale, and it's not great long term. There is a market for that, but obviously it's not the winning market.
Yeah, it's not going to be. You're not going to be hitting all those points.
Sustainable. Yeah. So it's not sustainable, and so that's what they're running into with this. And to me, it just seems like there's a lot of key factors that are going on that are leading to this. And the one huge one that I could say off the top of my head is other nations not having legal cannabis. You know, and we're going to run into that issue too.
International trade and all that.
Like, so if we're not able to have international commerce with North America, you know, Canada, you know, U.S. and Mexico, we're going to run into issues. Like here in the borderland, once Texas goes legal, we lose a huge portion of our, you know, customer base. And now there are some Mexicans that do come and, you know, buy cannabis in Sunland Park and, you know, areas like that. But, you know, we're going to be relying solely on them, and it's not as many. To be able
to get it, yeah.
Yeah, and so if we have international commerce on that sense, it'll make it easier because our cannabis is going to be higher grade for a while they're getting set up and getting their quality up. Because if you asked me if we had good cannabis last year in New Mexico, I would laugh. But this year, total different story.
Oh, it's been great.
It's been great.
this
Total
year.
different story.
Even the
Oh.
concentrate. I've
Oh
been
my
starting to
god,
find
the concentrate game is crazy.
Yo, dude, the rosins that I've been finding
Yeah.
lately. Oh my god, clean, concise,
Yes.
clear, beautiful high,
Yeah.
comfortable.
Terpy.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
nice and terpy. How do you feel about shatter, man? Because I totally found some shatter that was being made, and I fell in love with it immediately.
I will love any extract as long as it's done right and clean.
Yes, sir.
You know, I mean, I'll try it, and as long as it's good and clean, heck yeah.
Yeah, the
you know?
shatter. I know it's mainly BHO made, and
Yeah.
it's definitely one to be worried about, and that's why I believe we didn't see it on the market for so long, and I just started finding some more again on the market, and I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm fairly impressed with this batches of shatter that they're coming out with. I believe they're purging it in a very more concise way. That they're having to there's only one way that they'd be able to get it that clean. Is they're going to have to take a certain product loss.
Yeah.
To be able to purge it that much.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. They're starting to purge it a little heavier on their shatter, charging more. That way they could start making shatters again. And I was impressed. That shatter that I tried, I have to figure out what producer it was. But if you're out there and you're watching this and you know who exactly I'm talking about, DM me because I got to figure out who that was. That was some of the best shatter I've tried in at least 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, when it first went recreational last year, all the shatter that I tried was, like you said, it was too dirty. There's too much BHO in it. It just too much hurt chest, hurt your throat.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah.
That's not what we're looking for.
Yeah, and in the end, may the best one survive, and I hope that's able to be the case here, because when we were medical, we were very limited on who we had here, and our quality was crap.
Yep.
And then I told the state that we needed to open licenses before we went rec, so that way we can get our quality up, we can get our plant count up, we can get more cannabis and be available for people at the beginning. Because at the beginning, there was no cannabis.
Nope.
Yeah, there was nothing.
Nope.
Yeah, there was nothing out there. Slurricane for days.
Yeah, Slurricane, and what was it? Was it the fritter?
Yeah. There was the only two you could find.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah. It was everywhere.
I got the Slurricane. I'm like, oh my god.
Again?
Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, great, thanks. I'll take water. So, but yeah, and anyway, guys, that was really what I want to talk about, the cannabis bubble thing. This is a great conversation we're having too, man. But one more thing before we go, I got a couple of bonus information for everybody. Some events going on in the state. I know 2 I mentioned last week, but we have the CCD Invest in New Mexico going on the 16th of November. That's free. I did the sign up last week on the link. Gino, if you could put the link again this week, that would be dope. You can sign up there. It's for free. The state's putting it on. It's great if you're a cannabis business owner. I'll probably be trying to watch that as well. And then the next one's going to be the NM Growers Cup, November 18th in Sunland Park. That one's all over the internet. If you guys will follow me, I'll probably be sharing a little bit more. Next after that is going to be, a couple of days after that is going to be the New Mexico Industry, the second Industry Sesh Town Hall, and that's going to be in Sunland Park. So this is going to be the first one that's going to be in Sunland Park. We're taking this all over different states. Albuquerque will be December 8th, I believe. I'm going to get that confirmation and everything for the Albuquerque one once we get a little bit closer to that date. That's going to be in Albuquerque, so that way the industry has a fair say around the state, not just Las Cruces.
And tell me more about the Industry Sesh deal. Was it just for industry to come in, get together, talk about
it's just for the industry, to people who are in the industry. It doesn't even have to be you have to have a license. If you're ancillary, you do photos and stuff like that, it's your chance to come in and tell the legislators really what's working, what's not working. We're going to write it, compile it, send it to them, and hopefully maybe even try to get a bill or something.
Definitely. So it's a good start to get your word.
An industry-made bill, essentially, is what we're really working for in the end. Is try to get all this information so that way we can say this is what the industry wants.
Yeah.
This is what they told us. And so if we have that in a bill, more than likely they can go with that bill versus just trying to figure out what we want. And it's better
playing a guessing game.
Yeah, and so many people hate politics that it's really hard when it comes time for legislation that we get participation. And so many people in the cannabis industry hate the government, don't trust the government, et cetera, et cetera.
Wonder why.
I wonder why. But at the same time, we're in a government industry, so it's like,
now
play the game.
Now we don't have a choice.
Yeah, we have no choice.
You got to roll the dice.
Yeah,
move your piece across the board.
Yeah. So sorry guys, it's what we got to do. So anyway, the industry sesh, that one's going to be in Sunland Park in Obi-Wan Cannabis. That's going to be November 20th at 5:00 until 8:30. You're more than welcome. 6:30. You're more than welcome to
Yeah,
come again.
most definitely.
It's everybody from the area. It's just we want to do it in Sunland Park to give the people that are in Sunland Park a direct chance to go somewhere a couple minutes away versus an hour away. Plus, we know the construction going to El Paso has been terrible lately.
I don't like to make that drive.
Yeah, I don't know. I did it yesterday, and I was like, "Oh, this is so bad." I can't wait till this is done. So that's everything that I have, other than the Albuquerque one next month, and of course they have the cannabis crawl going out this tomorrow. Starting
tomorrow, 10 a.m. at Dreams, and you'll get your passport. You'll see the participating dispensaries on it. Get your stamps for every dispensary. Turn it in. You're in for $1,000 cash raffle.
Cool, and that's just for Friday, right?
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay, all weekend.
Yeah, all weekend. So I want to say it'll probably take you around an hour and a half to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, you're pretty much good to go. If you just want to hit a few dispensaries Friday, then go hit a few more Saturday, and then finish it off Sunday, that's perfectly fine. It's the closing. The time that you need to have your passports in is Sunday by 5:00 in the afternoon.
Cool. Oh, awesome.
And if you don't mind, one other thing, I am still looking for at least a couple more vendors for 420 at 505. So if you guys, farmers market vendors, you guys got your own stuff that you guys, pottery, jewelry, anything like you guys got going on, go ahead and contact me, Logen Reed, manager at 420 at 505. And yeah, I will gladly let you guys set up a spot, and we'll go from there.
And they can find you, Logen Reed, on Facebook?
Logen Reed on Facebook, yep. Okay. Facebook, and that's Facebook, Logen Reed, and then at the shop, 420 at 505.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. And, I hope, a lot of people come out to the event this weekend.
Yo, yes, sir, awesome. Mr. Chat. Thank you so much for having me today.
Heck yeah, man. I appreciate you showing up, man.
Yes,
Heck yeah.
sir.
And for my veterans, again, happy Veterans Day this weekend. Get your free food, enjoy it, share some stories, and enjoy each other's company.
Thank you,
all right, guys. Shoots.
I brought you a stack as well. Yeah, I think there's like 50 little cards in there.
Okay.
But yeah, you guys, this meant a lot. This was awesome, man.
Yeah, this is dope.
This is awesome. I feel like I just got my cherry popped.